Well, good morning. It is May the 19th, 2025, and straight from the Highly Caffeinated Studio, this is According to Willie B. And I, Will Bryce, am your host for the next half hour. So, where could I possibly be taking you today? Well, don't worry, it's not back to Florida. Everybody seems like, you're stuck on Florida right now? And I really seem to have been, and that's no fault of my own. But I digress. Where I'd like to take you today is on a trip to Las Vegas. That's right, Las Vegas, Nevada. So hide your wallets because you know what'll happen if you don't. You're gonna. That's one place you can go and be a millionaire, and or you can come home the opposite of a millionaire. So many fortunes have been lost. And won, I guess, and per se. I've never been on the winning side, but I'm not a huge gambler, so there's that. Once I make my money and stick it in the bank, I like it to stay there. Taking a chance, I took a chance. I always tell people, it's like, well, you don't like to gamble. I said, well, here's the thing. I gambled all week, me showing up to work 5 days in a row to get that paycheck. I don't want to gamble again. So, but anyway, so let's jump in. Let's talk about Vegas a little bit. I got a couple announcements at the end of the show. I'll save it for then. So we're just going to dive right on into this. So one thing that I miss about Vegas, I miss the old Vegas, and I don't mean back in 1965. I mean literally 10 years ago, 15 years ago. That was to me the coolest time in Vegas, and I mean everybody's got their own opinion, but like if for instance, if you remember, at the top of the Stratosphere, they used to have a roller coaster, and being a roller coaster junkie, that was the coolest roller coaster. I mean, it didn't really do anything spectacular other than it went around the edge of the top of that building. That was enough adrenaline in its own right. But you know, I just loved that coaster at the top of and at the top of the Stratosphere, and they took that away. I think they've since closed one or two more rides up there, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But that's the thing about Vegas. They'll build a monstrosity resort, and then you go back a few years later, and it's gone. There's something else there. I remember my very first trip to Vegas. There was the Sahara. As you know, that's no longer there. So I will tell you my favorite hotels, or really not hotels, resorts in Vegas, and these are in no particular order. But one of my favorite resorts in Vegas, and I have a reason for each one, is New York, New York. Now, what is cool to me about New York, New York is two things. Number one, they have a roller coaster that goes around the building. I gotta say though, it's not a coaster that I've ridden it twice in my life, and I don't look forward to riding it a third time. To be a steel coaster, it is probably one of the most roughest steel coasters I've ever been on in my life. And I've heard a lot of other reviews and stuff that have said the same thing. Uh, but what I like on the interior of New York, New York, is the uh, little food court area. And they have the brick streets, and it looks like you're on the streets of New York while you're in the little food court. I just think that is so cool. It's just such a cool vibe. I really love that. But if you really want to talk about them taking a facade to a whole new level, that's where you want to go to the Venetian, right there next to the Palazzo. That's their sister property. But the Venetian, you go back there in that shopping dining area where they have, and their ceilings are painted like the sky, and you swear you were outside. It's just the neatest thing I had ever seen. And then don't forget about the gondolas going down the little canal inside the resort. That also is really neat. Um, Usually the gondoliers will sing in Italian. I usually like to help them because I love also to sing in Italian, and it's just one of the neat things, and it's such a cool vibe. You really get the feeling of being in Italy, and one of the just an overall view of Vegas. If you've been, is everything is just so massive. Like it's just bigger than life. Every resort. I'll never forget my first trip to Vegas, and I learned this very quickly, where you could look down the strip and you would see the next. It was like, oh, that's really cool. It's just right there. Let's walk down there. Oh no no, oh nay nay. That is not just right down the street. That's a good 15-20 minute walk in the heat, and it's insane how far those distances will trick you. Um, just to walk down the strip, let's just say for argumentative sake, let's say you're going to walk the strip from Treasure Island down to New York, or even the Excalibur or the Luxor, which I hear are both about to be gone. But yeah, it's that you go all the way down there and back. You've walked across the country, let me tell you, and in intense heat. Yes, I know it's a dry heat, but dry heat or moist heat or wet heat or whatever you want to call it, but it's still heat. It's still hot. You'll still melt like a popsicle on a dash, let me tell you. Um, but I do love that Vegas is larger than life. And if you've ever been to Vegas, you have a Vegas story. And it always begins, man, I remember this one time I was in Vegas and it was about 3 a.m. Usually most stories start like that, on stories from Vegas. And I've got a few Vegas stories of my own. And don't worry, I mean, yours truly, nothing illegal or immoral, but I do have my Vegas stories. And I remember one, which was the reason I no longer care for the Treasure Island Resort. Was staying there a few years ago, and that is the timeshare selling capital of the world. I kid you not. And as I was leaving the hotel, I was staying there. One of their and it was they were selling the timeshares on behalf of Treasure Island, and this salesman got really aggressive, so much so that I turned around, went back in the hotel, found management, and said, "Hey, I can't even get to the street because this guy's, he's blocking my way. Will not let me pass until I agree to listen to him talk about a timeshare." And so the manager said, "Well, he's doing what he's being told." And so I went out the other side of the hotel and went around. So there's that. I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I now like to stay at either the Venetian or the Bellagio or New York, something along that lines. And those are really great properties. To talk about when Vegas is just bigger than life, they just opened that new one. I believe they opened it in 21 when it opened, called Resorts World. Just when you didn't think Vegas could build anything any bigger, they opened this monstrosity. Just to give you an idea, their pool complex, because that's what they call it, their swimming pool complex, 222,000 square feet just on the pool. Now imagine how big everything else is in that resort. It's insane. I mean, do we really need something that massively large? But it's Vegas, so the answer to that is yes. And then when it comes to the food, same thing. You can get food there. You can get the biggest pizza slice. You can get the biggest hamburger. You go down to the old downtown area, and there's a place down there called the Heart Attack Grill. Now, I mean, they got some burgers there even I am not going to tackle. But now, downtown is a completely different vibe than the Strip. And I do recommend, if you go from the Strip to downtown, make sure you take a bus. because there's some really bad area to walk through. Going from, by the time you get to the stratosphere, anything past the stratosphere, it really starts getting kind of not someplace you want to be at nighttime. But it's a long walk too. I mean, it's a good. I think if it's about a 10-15 minute bus ride, depending on traffic, etc. But definitely further than you want to walk. So if you want to check out downtown, it's definitely a cool vibe. They got a zip line down there that goes. You literally fly up under that canopy, the length of the downtown strip, and that is really cool. I've done that a few times, and I absolutely enjoy that. Some of the things that I miss, when I was talking about the Treasure Island, they used to have this pirate ship on their little, kind of like a little miniature lake out front, and they did these pirate shows, and it was really cool music and dancing and lights and fog and all this kind of stuff. It was just really cool shows, and now it's just nothing. They don't do anything. I think that's really sad because I thought that was really cool. They did a lot of things and changed it up throughout the years, and I don't know why they couldn't have just continued that. But hey, what do I know? But the volcano show in front of the Mirage. Now that's nothing but lights and water and smoke and fire, of course, but it is amazing. It's an absolutely it's a sidewalk stopping show that you're walking down the sidewalk and that show starts. You're gonna stop and watch it. It is very mesmerizing. Of course, then you got the fountains at Bellagio. And I don't care how many times you've seen the fountains at Bellagio show, but you will still stop and watch that water because the impressive power of how far those water cannons shoot that water up in the air is just unreal. And like I said, I've seen that show. I don't even know how many times, but I still, to this day, will stop and watch that fountain show. So, but when it comes to food in Vegas, you pretty much can find anything from a $2 hot dog, which is starting to get harder and harder to find, but you can find anything from a $2 hot dog to a $600 dinner. I'll stick with the $2 hot dog. Now I may get a little further above the $2 hot dog, but a $600 dinner, no, I don't see it. But some people do. That's why they have it. But they have a lot of white tablecloth restaurants there. Unfortunately, on the strip, there's really not any air quote mom and pop type restaurants. But there is one, and it's kind of off the strip, and it's over there on Highland Drive behind the Fashion Show Mall. If you know where that's at, it's just literally like a street over, and it's an independent, and it is definitely worth a mention here. I would love to go out there in the near future and do an episode of Culinary Highway, and it's called Rollin' Smoke Barbecue. Now, it's Vegas, so that's their own kind of style of barbecue, but man, the food is really top notch there. Absolutely love that place. Some of the sides and stuff that they have, it's just really good food. Rollin' Smoke Barbecue, but it is an independent, and so if you're ever in Vegas, it's worth let's call it a $20-$25 cab ride to go over there and check it out and then come back. I would not, me per se, would not feel safe walking that distance off the strip. I've never felt unsafe on the strip. Doesn't matter what time, day or night. But you can get off the strip in some areas, and it's like, wow. I just, it's not a place you want to be, but they've also, up on the strip, there's, and I don't remember what hotel this is in. I get them mixed up sometimes, but you can look it up. It's called Gilley's, and it's just like the one that was back down there in NASA, in Texas. Off of NASA Road 1 over there at Pasadena. Sorry, Pasadena. I'm getting my towns mixed up. That's what happens when you travel too much. You get all your towns mixed up. It's like, oh no, that was in Oklahoma, bud. You're way off. No, but this was in Pasadena, Texas. It's the old little beer joint called Gillies, where Mickey Gilley owned that. There's a Vegas version, if you will, on the strip, and it's really cool. It's kind of nostalgic. A lot of memorabilia in there from the original location, so it's really cool. I enjoy going there. If you want nostalgia, I'm gonna tell you a place on the strip. It's not mom and pop owned, but if you're looking for nostalgia, I didn't say great food. I said nostalgia, and it's called the Peppermill and Fireside Lounge. Now, this place opened in 1971 as an independently owned restaurant, and it has some really cool vibes. You think you might as well get your bell bottom pants out of the closet. You know you got them, and put them on, because when you go to the Peppermill restaurant there on the strip, it is absolutely like stepping back into the 1970s. So make sure that you got the appropriate hairstyle and that you have the wild jacket and the bell bottom pants. You're gonna need them because you're gonna be stepping back in time. But really cool. As far as if you're looking for a souvenir when you go to Vegas, of course you can find them in every 20 feet that you walk. Don't get me wrong. There's no shortage of souvenirs when it comes to Vegas. But two of my favorite stores in Vegas is the M&M store. If you've not been in an M&M store, you can get an M&M in any color that you can possibly imagine. Crayola, I don't even think keeps up with them on the amount of different colors. I think they've got Crayola beat, but really cool. I think you can even get them with your own initials on them. It's crazy, but it's two stories of an M&M store in there. It's right next to the Coca-Cola store, so there's that. So now you can get your snack and your drink all at one time. Coca-Cola store was okay. To me it was just so. But the M&M store, yeah, that was really cool. The other thing is, and it's down the strip a ways, you'll want to take the little bus that they have going up and down the strip, because it's a pretty far way down below the stratosphere, and it's called the Bonanza Gift Shop. Now, plan on spending at least an hour because this place has got so much, and there's no other word for it, crap. I'm serious. There is so much crap in that store. There's decent souvenirs. You got your T-shirts, your coffee mugs, your cigarette lighters, your cigar lighters. The list could go. I could do a whole podcast on what they have in that store. You need a set of deer antlers from Wyoming. They're in there. Airplane propeller off. I digress. But there's literally everything in that store, and it's worth checking out just as almost like a tourist attraction. But you got to check that out. But Vegas has changed so much. There used to be the buffets, in which there are still some of the mega buffets at some of the higher end resorts. I know Bellagio still does a massive buffet. I think Mirage still does a massive buffet. There's still a few, but the days of the 1995 buffet and it just going on for hundreds of feet in every single direction, you don't see those anymore. The buffets now are, the last that I've seen is, I think Bellagio buffet is, depending on the time of day and the day of the week that you go, because it matters then. You can find buffets for around $60, $70, $80. There are some that go higher, because when you start getting them where they have the crab legs, etc., etc., you're gonna pay for that. I would rather go somewhere that actually has great seafood and and get the really good quality crab legs. Just because I love crab legs, I'm just telling you that's the way to go. And as a foodie, I'm telling you, if I'm gonna pay for crab legs, I want the good ones. You know, when I crack them open, I want them to be full of meat. I'm not just cracking crab legs just for the fun of it. It's like eating sunflower seeds. I just don't see I don't see the fun behind that. All that work to get in there for something that I'm probably gonna drop and not be able to see on the floor anyway. So there's that. But you know, Vegas used to just have a different vibe. It still has the, you know, people are up 24 hours a day. The city, it's always been called the city that never sleeps. But you know, on the flip side of that, you got a lot of people in the casinos, and that is where Vegas makes their money. That is the big draw in Vegas, is to go to Vegas and hit it big, so they say. But that's why I told you at the beginning of the show, make sure you hide your wallet when you go. To me, the flights have gotten more expensive. Of course, flights have gotten more expensive all the way around, but I can remember when you could go to Vegas for a weekend and, you know, catch a cheap flight on sale and maybe get a semi-comped room and man, go to Vegas for a few $100 and have a great weekend and come back with a story that you'll tell for the rest of your life. But now you could just about fly to the Bahamas and have a week in a resort for what it costs to go to Vegas. And you know, you kind of got to look at your vacation dollars and your vacation days for the year. It's like, okay, do I want to put all my cats in one basket, so to speak? I mean, because you know, you put all your cats in one basket, you've got troubles, my friend. Let me tell you. But you know, I digress. But you know, Vegas to me used to be a lot more fun than it is now. It's gotten to be so big, so commercialized, and so expensive. But it's still a good time. If I'm going to give you one piece of information that you want to take away, is the amount of days that you're going to spend in Vegas. And the reason I bring this up is because I have been to Vegas for a period of, let's say, 2 days over a weekend, and I have been to Vegas for as many as 7 or 8 days straight. Let me tell you, that is not for the faint of heart. That will wear on you. You will all but die before you come home, because anything more than, I've always said, anything more than 3 days in Vegas, that is way too much of the excessive lifestyle. There may be people that are like a third of my age that go, oh no, that's just getting started. So I used to think the same way. So just wait, Pumpkin, you're going to be right there behind me, and you're going to find out one day that more than 3 days in Vegas is all but life-threatening on a scale of 1 to 10 anyway. But that is what I had for this week. I just kind of wanted to touch on Vegas a little bit. It had came up. Someone had emailed me the other day and said, "Hey, what do you got on Vegas? Have you been to Vegas lately?" And I was like, "Well, I haven't been to Vegas in just a year, but I did have some input on Vegas." I thought, sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do a show on Vegas. I will tell you that we have something coming up big at the end of the year. We're taking, with some friends, we're taking a huge trip up to New York, on through Niagara Falls on the U.S. side and Canada side, coming up through Montreal, and then back down through winding up in Boston. And it's about an 8-day trip, so there'll be a lot to talk about after that trip, because I've never been to any of those areas. So that's kind of why we're trying to plan the rest of our travel for this year, is to go some places that haven't been, so that I have something new to talk about. Now, will I be going to Florida again? More than likely. Will I talking about it again? More than likely. But, I digress. So the announcements that I have before I let you go, We do have our transfers in. We do have some t-shirts that are in. More are coming this next week. I hope to, on Wednesday of this week, start putting some of the t-shirts on the get them up on the website so that you guys can see them, see the pricing. It will be free shipping, so everybody's excited about that one. It was amazing how many emails I got just when about mentioning free shipping. I think I had 27 emails. I counted them because it was, I thought it was the same person, but it wasn't. It was 27 separate emails. Just that, hey, thank you for offering free shipping, and it does. Shipping can get ridiculous. You know, oh look, here's this item. It's only $12.99. Add shipping, and it's now $127.99. So everybody was really excited about the free shipping. But those will be hitting the website very soon. I appreciate everybody's patience on that. Once again, if you haven't went and checked out Culinary Highway on YouTube, make sure you go check that out and subscribe at Culinary Highway on YouTube, and that helps support the local restaurant industry in more ways than you can imagine. So that's all I have for this week. Don't forget to caffeinate and conquer, and I'll see you right back here 1 week from today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.